me kind of going through the process of developing my brand message. So in part one, it was like literally just a brain dump. And I covered the 3 things that I know are important for attracting better clients. In part 2, I talked about my ideal clients, and I started talking about the ideal clients that I have for my Done For You services. But then also what came out of that is that obviously I need my ideal viewer for YouTube is very different to that. Well, not very different, but like it's different. Then yesterday, what did I talk about yesterday? Yesterday was around boundaries and how they're really important for attracting better clients. So today it's like the natural progression is I'm going to talk about my origin story and why that's important to you, because it really is important. The biggest thing consumers will have, or anybody will have really, anybody who is consuming content will have is why are you doing this? So the ideal viewer that came out of the part 2, they will be when I'm speaking to them, they will automatically be thinking, well, why do you want to help me to attract better clients? Just like if somebody goes onto a website, they're automatically, they might not consciously know that they're thinking this, but they are thinking, why is this person helping, or why is this company, or why is this business helping with this problem? And that's why about pages are really, really, really important and often overlooked. Like the amount of times that people come to me and just kind of dismiss the about page and just like, oh, well, you can work on the about page, but it's not really that important, is it? Nobody ever reads about pages, but it is important. The reason nobody reads your about page, not you watching, but you know, the person who thinks that they're not important, is because it's not very good. But you can put your origin, if you get your origin story right, it'll position you perfectly to attract better clients. So, and obviously if you put your origin story on your about page, then that is perfect. So why is an origin story so important? Because it shows people that you have empathy and understanding for where they're at and the problem that they have. So over the last 10 years, I've changed my business message. Like I've said in previous videos, I've changed my business message several times. And each time I've tried to, well, for the last 5 years, because 6 years, I'd say I've done this. Because each time you need to kind of tweak your origin story to fit the ideal client that you're speaking to, or fit the audience that you're speaking to. That doesn't mean to say you're just slightly tweaking the narrative. So for example, when I created my brand message to target and speak to web designers back in 2019, I talked about my journey as a web designer, because I used to be a web designer pre-2019, and I was writing content for clients, but I was undercharging. I started off not charging at all for it, just writing it as a web designer, because my client didn't have it, which is like not very good. And the message came out of the fact that I knew that web designers were really struggling to collect content from their clients. So I talked about that a lot as my origin story. Now, obviously that is true still. But when I'm speaking to an audience who isn't made up of web designers, there's a different angle to come at that origin story. It's all true, but I'm just coming at things from a slightly different angle. So when I'm developing this brand message for my YouTube viewers, what I'm going to talk about is the struggle that I had when I first set out in business, which was 10 years ago. So that struggle to attract the right kind of clients. So, when I first set out designing websites, I was attracting, I just wasn't experienced in business at that point. I'd just set out, so I wasn't experienced. So I was attracting clients who were like low ball boundary pushing clients. Nice people, but because and it's probably unfair to say they were boundary pushing clients. It was more that it was my fault because I wasn't experienced enough. So I wasn't setting solid boundaries. I wasn't putting boundaries in place to tell people what I would and wouldn't accept. So that was 10 years ago, and I've consistently changed my positioning, my messaging, the way I speak about my business. My confidence has grown, and I consistently attract better clients every time I do the work. And the work is talking about your message, sharing your ideas, sharing your opinions. It's documenting the journey so that you can get feedback on where you're at and keep refining your message, understanding your ideal clients more and more and more. So yesterday I was talking about how, so in the early days, say I wasn't really attracting the people who I wanted to, but it was like business is business and I was making money and that was the most important thing. But I might have I did pick one per client in that pool of people that was the best, and then create more marketing material to target that one person. So then I would start attracting more like that person. So then I'd do the same again, and I'd think about one person out of that pool that was really, really good, and I would focus all my marketing on that person and up level it again. And then I'd just keep on doing that all the time. And obviously as well, for every new service, new offer, like I've done so many things. Like in 2021, I was selling how to write lead generating sales copy. So I spent a long time with my ideal client focused on that person. I've sold lots of different things. But the point is, every time you just keep refining, and that's the way I do ideal client work, is just think of a person who I really liked working with, who, like paid on time, was happy to pay, excited to work with us, all of those kind of things. And then you keep attracting more of them types of clients. So that is why I'm going to just skim through some of these comments. I'm not going to answer every comment. So yesterday I was getting a bit distracted with like answering different things. So I'll probably not answer anything that I just don't know the answer to. But definitely ask me questions on anything that I'm talking about. So my origin story, back to my origin story. So in the early days, really in the very early days, I was getting clients via, local SEO. That was like really easy at that time, like in 2015. It was pretty easy. Local SEO was like really easy, and I was a web designer, and it was just seemed like too easy to get to the top of Google in my area. So but I didn't understand at all how I could brand positioning and how I could filter out clients that I didn't want inquiries from. I was still in that mindset where I would take on any inquiry and just charge a really low price because I just wanted the work. And I think like you probably got to go through that when you first start out, because you've got to build your portfolio and you've got to learn. And I didn't have any experience when I very first started. So before setting out in web design, I was working as a scientist. So it wasn't actually related to my new business. I retrained. I've started off building websites for like friends and family and things like that, and had all these business ideas. That was like in 2015. And then I did some Wix webmaster training. So I retrained on how to design a website, a bespoke website through Wix, and went through all their training and stuff. And that's how I learned how to write copy, actually, through Wix. That was the first step. Obviously, I've done loads of training programs since then, over the last, well, six years it'll be. Not 10 years. God, I've got my cat here, if you're wondering what I'm doing, stroking here. Ow, he's biting us, don't bite us. So it was when I learned how to write persuasive copywriting, that is obviously when I started learning how to attract better clients. That was like the turning point. I stumbled across a really, really good copywriting course. And I did that, and that taught me that was the first step in teaching me how to create a strong brand message. And that was like in 2019. And then after that, I was just addicted to buying copywriting courses and reading books. One of the books that I read in 2019, Donald Miller's Building a Story Brand, really helped me at that time. But I've done so much copywriting stuff since. Copy Hackers, really into their training. If anybody wants to learn about copywriting processes and stuff like that, Copy Hackers is really good. But yeah, I'd say the turning point for attracting better clients was definitely that point back in 2019, where I was just obsessed with kind of reading as much as I could on psychology and self-development, and learning how to write for sales, because it's all connected. Like setting a boundary, being able to set boundaries with clients is one of the most crucial aspects of attracting better clients, because you are positioning yourself as a leader with authority. And the worst thing you can do is position yourself as lower than your client, if that makes sense. You've got to have the confidence to be able to say no, and using language that is clear and confident and authoritative, even whilst showing empathy as well. That's like the real key. I'll just looking. There's nothing to comment on. So showing people that you have empathy for the problem. So this is how it's all coming together. So like I was saying earlier, the first part of this series that I did was covering the 3 things, and then I'm starting to dig into each one of those things in more depth. So the origin story comes when you know who your ideal client is, but it's a constant process that you have to keep going through all the time, refining at every step. So every time that, like, you get more clarity on your brand message and your positioning by constantly refining every time. But that's where this piece about talking, the step 1 comes in, about you have to talk, it doesn't actually have to be talking. I'm talking my way through things for this this time of the kind of process, but you can write your way through this as well. It's the point is you need constant feedback all the time, feedback from yourself and feedback from other people. So step 1, talking about your business, your ideas and your opinions, then you get feedback, and with that feedback you start to understand and learn more about your ideal client, their struggles, their pain points, their hopes and dreams and aspirations, and how you fit into that journey. So the journey from where your ideal client is now to where your ideal client wants to be, and where you fit into that, and how you can help them, what specific problem you can help them with. And then once you know that, then your origin story like overlays over the top. And you use your origin story to show people that you have been where they're at, you've overcome that problem, and you can help them do the same. So hopefully that is kind of what I'm showing here, is that I have struggled to get the right clients, and I've consistently up-leveled my ideal clients to the point now where I attract really brilliant people, like amazing, brilliant people who need help to communicate their brand message as clearly and confidently as possible. And I want to help you to do the same, to craft your own message and positioning so that you attract better clients. And by better clients, I mean, clients who pay more, pay on time, are less stressful, less hassle, do what you say, follow instructions. Like, clients who follow instructions are amazing, and you're the key to helping them to follow instructions by setting boundaries really early on, being clear in your communication from your marketing, then in your sales, and then throughout the process until you finish working together. And if you want to attract better clients, it's 100% possible. You can do that. You just need to work on a few things consistently to up-level them. Right, I'm going to go now because I've been live for 20 minutes, and that is, yes, I'll answer that. Yes, I am a Geordie. I'm somewhere nearby Newcastle, and the channel is about attracting better clients, helping small creative businesses to attract better clients. If anybody is watching and they want to subscribe, yes, there is 5 people watching at the minute. Please subscribe, and it'll motivate me to keep going and keep talking my way through developing my own brand message, which surely is interesting for a copywriter to be talking about sharing the brand message. Right, I'm going. It's 20 minutes and that is me done. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.